Before the first Friday of Rabi al Awwal disappears, ask yourself, what will your heart carry from this day? The Awliya understood that a blessed moment can pass while the heart remains unchanged. So before sunset, turn away from the noise and return to Allah with dhikr, istighfar and salawat. La ilaha illallah. Stay with me through these 7 lessons, because before this Friday ends, there is something your tongue should remember, and something your heart may desperately need to release. And before we begin, subscribe to Whispers of the Awliya and write, Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad in the comments. Lesson 1. Begin with istighfar before you ask Allah for anything else. The Awliya understood that the heart should not always begin by asking for more. Sometimes the first thing it needs is to become lighter. Before sunset, do not rush straight into asking for provision, success, healing, or open doors. First look inward and ask, what have I carried into this Friday that needs forgiveness? Say slowly, Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. Do not let it become an empty repetition. Remember the prayer you delayed, the harsh word you justified, the jealousy you hid, the habit you keep promising to leave, the blessing you complained about, and the moment you knew what was right but still chose the nafs. The Awliya understood that real istighfar is not just asking Allah to erase the past. It is asking Him to change what keeps creating the same past again. The nafs loves repentance without surrender. It is happy to say astaghfirullah if nothing actually has to change. But sincere istighfar may ask you to apologize, leave a sinful habit, return someone's right, stop one conversation, or close one door that keeps pulling you away from Allah. That is why istighfar can be powerful. It does not only clean the memory of sin, it challenges the attachment to it. Before this Friday ends, sit quietly for a few minutes and stop defending yourself before Allah. You do not need an excuse. You need honesty. Say, Rabbi aghfir li wa tub alayh. Then let the heart admit what the tongue usually hides. Perhaps your greatest need today is not a new blessing. Perhaps it is to be freed from something old. The Awliya understood that one sincere repentance can become more valuable than 100 requests made by a heart still refusing to return. So before you ask Allah to open the next door, ask Him to purify the one who will walk through it. Lesson 2. Send salawat until love becomes character. The first Friday of Rabi al Awwal should not pass with love for the Prophet remaining only on the tongue. The Awliya understood that true love becomes visible in character, patience, mercy, humility, and the way you treat people when nobody is praising you for it. Say with presence, Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Do not rush it. Let every salawat remind you of a question. If I claim to love the Prophet, is that love changing the way I speak, forgive, respond, and behave? It is easy to praise mercy and still be harsh at home. It is easy to admire patience and still explode when the nafs is challenged. It is easy to send salawat while carrying pride, resentment, and the need to always be right. The Awliya understood that salawat becomes deeper when it begins correcting these contradictions. So before sunset, do not only increase the number of salawat, increase the quality of your intention. Ask Allah to place mercy in your speech, patience in your reactions, humility in your success, and gentleness in your strength. Make this short dua, Ya Allah, zayyinni bi husnil khuluq. O Allah, beautify me with good character. The second transformation is this. Salawat stops being something you merely recite and begins becoming something people can feel through the way you live. Because the most beautiful sign of love is not only that the tongue remembers the Prophet, it is that your character begins to resemble the mercy you praise. Lesson 3. Return the heart to La ilaha illallah before the day ends. After istighfar has cleaned what was heavy and salawat has softened the heart with love, the next step is deeper. The Awliya understood that the heart must now be emptied of whatever has quietly become too important inside it. This is where you return to La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. These words are not only a declaration of faith, they are a correction of attachment. The first half removes La ilaha, no created thing deserves the place that belongs to Allah. The second half returns Ilallah, except Allah. Before sunset, ask yourself honestly, what has become too powerful inside my heart this week? Was it fear? Was it money? Was it one person's approval? Was it a relationship? Was it the need to control what happens next? The Awliya understood that hidden dependence can become a veil. You may still pray, still make dhikr, still speak about Allah, yet one worldly thing may be deciding your peace more strongly than remembrance does. That is where La ilaha illallah must enter. If one person's silence can ruin your entire day, say La ilaha illallah. If one financial fear has occupied your mind more than trust in Allah, say La ilaha illallah. If one closed door has convinced you that your future is finished, say La ilaha illallah. The Awliya understood that this dhikr is not meant to make you stop caring about people, money, work, or your future. It is meant to put every one of them back in the correct place. You can love people deeply without making them your source. You can work hard without making work your God. You can plan carefully without pretending you control tomorrow. You can want something intensely without believing life has no meaning if you do not receive it. This is why La ilaha illallah is so powerful. It does not necessarily remove the blessing. It removes the false throne you placed beneath it. The nafs says, I cannot live without this. The dhikr says, Allah is greater. The nafs says, if they leave, I am nothing. The dhikr says, my worth does not belong to another servant. The nafs says, if this door closes, everything is over. The dhikr says, Allah owns every door. Before this first Friday of Rabi al Awwal ends, do not repeat these words only with your tongue. Let them question your attachments. Ask, what am I afraid to lose? What am I chasing too desperately? What controls my mood? What do I think I need in order to feel complete? Then place that thing beneath, La ilaha illallah, and make this dua, Ya Allah, La tejal fi qalbi ahadan a'zama minka. O Allah, do not let anyone or anything become greater in my heart than you. The Awliya understood that the deepest freedom is not having nothing. It is being owned by nothing except Allah. So before sunset, say La ilaha illallah until the heart remembers this truth. People may stay or leave, money may increase or decrease, plans may succeed or fail, but Allah remains. And once the heart remembers that, the dunya begins returning to its proper size. Lesson 4. Say Allahu Akbar until your biggest problem becomes smaller before Allah. After istighfar cleans the heart, salawat softens it, and La ilaha illallah returns it to its true center. The Awliya understood that another enemy must be confronted, the problem that has become so large in your mind that you can barely see anything beyond it. Perhaps it is money. Perhaps your home is carrying tension nobody knows about. Perhaps someone you love has become distant. Perhaps you are waiting for an answer that refuses to come. Perhaps your future feels uncertain, and every night your mind creates another frightening possibility. The problem follows you everywhere. You wake with it. You carry it through the day. You bring it into salah. You take it back to bed. Eventually, the problem has not only entered your life, it has occupied your imagination. This is where the Awliya returned the heart to two words, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater. Notice what these words do. They do not tell you that your problem is imaginary. They do not tell you that pain does not hurt, debt does not matter, rejection does not wound, or uncertainty is easy. They remind you that whatever has become enormous in your eyes is still small before the power of Allah. This is why takbir is not merely something the tongue says. It restores proportion inside the heart. When anxiety makes the future look enormous, Allahu Akbar. When another person's rejection begins feeling bigger than your worth, Allahu Akbar. When provision becomes uncertain and the nafs whispers, there is no way out, Allahu Akbar. When you have tried repeatedly and the door still refuses to open, Allahu Akbar. The Awliya understood that fear becomes dangerous when the heart unconsciously magnifies the problem while forgetting the greatness of Allah. You spend hours imagining what could go wrong and only minutes remembering who controls what comes next. You calculate every obstacle but forget the one whose command is not restricted by obstacles. You count the doors that closed but forget the one who owns doors you have not even discovered yet. Then the nafs begins speaking as though the situation is final. It will never change. You will never recover. There is no way. Nobody can help. But the heart trained in takbir refuses to give a created difficulty the language of absolute power. It says, Allahu Akbar. My problem is real, but it is not greater than Allah. My fear is real, but it does not control tomorrow. My door is closed, but it is not the only door. My strength may be limited, but Allah is not limited. This is one of the secrets the Awliya carried into difficulty. Do not measure Allah by the size of your circumstances. Measure your circumstances against the greatness of Allah. That changes everything. Imagine you are standing before a mountain. From where you stand, the mountain fills your entire vision. You cannot see beyond it, so the nafs assumes there is nothing beyond it. Your problem can become like that mountain. Because it fills your vision, you begin believing it fills reality. But it does not. You only see the mountain. Allah knows what lies beyond it. You see today's rejection. Allah knows tomorrow's opening. You see the money you do not have. Allah knows provision you cannot yet imagine. You see the relationship that changed. Allah knows the entire path of your life. You see one page. Allah knows the whole story. This is why Allahu Akbar gives the heart room to breathe again. The problem remains, but it is no longer sitting on the throne. And before this first Friday of Rabi al Awwal reaches sunset, ask yourself, what have I made bigger than Allah in my thoughts? Not bigger in what you claim to believe, but bigger in the amount of attention you give it. What occupies your mind first in the morning? What repeatedly steals your peace? What are you thinking about during Salah? What possibility frightens you so deeply that you have begun behaving as though Allah cannot change it? This question may reveal something uncomfortable. Sometimes we say Allahu Akbar with the tongue, while our anxiety says something else with the heart. The tongue says Allah is greater, but the heart behaves as though the debt is greater. The tongue says Allah is greater, but the heart behaves as though one person's opinion is greater. The tongue says Allah is greater, but the heart behaves as though tomorrow is controlled by our fear. The Awliya understood that Dhikr should bring the tongue and heart back together. So when you say Allahu Akbar, do not rush to the next repetition. Bring your specific fear into the words. If your fear is provision, say Allahu Akbar and remind yourself that your risk is not independent of Allah. If your fear is rejection, say Allahu Akbar and remember that one person's decision does not possess your destiny. If your fear is the future, say Allahu Akbar and remember that the future frightening you is already within the knowledge of Allah. If your fear is something you cannot control, say Allahu Akbar and remember that your inability is not Allah's inability. That distinction is powerful. The nafs often makes this mistake. I cannot see a solution, therefore there is no solution. But those are two completely different statements. You cannot see, that is true, but you do not know everything Allah may open. The Awliya understood that tawakkul begins when the servant stops making the limits of their own imagination the limits of what Allah can do. You may not know how provision will come. You may not know how the situation will change. You may not know which door will open. You may not know whether the answer will arrive in the form you expected. But you know, Allahu Akbar, and that is enough to keep walking without pretending you know the entire road. There is another problem that takbir breaks: the greatness of people inside your heart. Sometimes a person becomes enormous to you. You fear their anger, you crave their approval, you think their rejection can destroy your future. You believe their support is the only reason you are safe. Their name enters your mind more than remembrance of Allah. The Awliya understood that this too requires takbir. Allahu Akbar. That person has influence. Allah has ultimate authority. That person may possess wealth. Allah owns provision. That person may open one opportunity. Allah owns every possibility. That person may reject you. They cannot cancel what Allah has written for you. This does not make you disrespect people. It frees you from worshipful fear of them. You can honor someone without trembling before their opinion. You can appreciate someone without making them the source of your security. You can ask someone for help without believing that your entire future sits inside their hands. The Awliya understood that this is dignity born from Tawheed, and then takbir must enter another place, your past. Some people are not frightened by tomorrow. They are imprisoned by yesterday. One mistake has become enormous. One failure has become their identity. One sin makes them believe they are permanently distant from Allah. The nafs whispers, "You ruined everything. You went too far. You cannot return." Then say, Allahu Akbar. Your sin should never become greater in your mind than the mercy of Allah. This does not mean minimizing sin. Repent sincerely, repair what you can, leave what must be left, but do not turn regret into despair. The Awliya understood that despair can become another trick of the nafs. At first it encourages the sin, and afterward it says, "Now you are too dirty to return." Do not believe it. You began this journey with Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. Now let Allahu Akbar remind you why returning is still possible. Allah is greater than the version of you that failed yesterday. Allah is greater than the habit you are struggling to break. Allah is greater than the shame that tells you to hide. So return. The Awliya also understood that takbir breaks the greatness of the ego. Sometimes your biggest problem is not outside you. It is the nafs saying, "I must be right. I must win. They must apologize first. They must know who I am. They cannot speak to me like that." Then one disagreement becomes a war because your ego has become enormous. Here too, Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater than your need to win every argument. Allah is greater than your reputation. Allah is greater than being praised. Allah is greater than having the final word. Sometimes the most powerful response to takbir is not feeling fearless. It is becoming humble. You apologize, you forgive, you stop the argument, you admit, "I was wrong." You choose peace where the nafs wanted victory. This is also Allahu Akbar, becoming character. Because if Allah is truly greater, then pleasing Allah must eventually become greater than pleasing the ego. The Awliya understood that dhikr, without inner change, can become only sound. So before sunset, let your takbir cost the nafs something. Maybe it costs one argument. Maybe it costs one grudge. Maybe it costs the need to prove yourself. Maybe it costs an hour of worrying about something you cannot control. Maybe it costs checking repeatedly whether someone replied. Let Allahu Akbar remove something from the throne. There is another beautiful secret here. When Allah becomes greater in your awareness, gratitude also becomes easier. Why? Because your problems stop covering every blessing. Sometimes one difficulty becomes so large that you forget everything still working in your life. One person left, so you forget those who remained. One financial problem appeared, so you forget every provision already reaching you. One prayer has not yet been answered in the way you hoped, so you forget hundreds of things you never even had to ask for. The problem becomes enormous, and gratitude disappears behind it. Takbir widens your vision again. Yes, there is difficulty, but there is also breadth. there is also another chance to repent. There may still be people who love you. There may still be food on the table. There may still be salah. There may still be the ability to say, Allahu Akbar. The Awliya understood that a grateful heart does not deny pain. It simply refuses to let pain become the only thing it can see. This is especially important before sunset. Do not spend the final moments of this Friday counting only what is missing. Remember what remains. Remember what Allah protected you from that you never saw. Remember doors that opened in the past when you thought there was no way. Remember difficulties you once believed you would never survive, yet here you are. Your own history contains evidence that today's feeling is not always tomorrow's reality. There were nights you thought would never end. They ended. There were problems you thought would destroy you. You survived. There were things you desperately wanted that later you realized were not what you needed. There were doors whose closure once hurt you, but with time you understood differently. So why assume the fear in front of you today already knows the ending? It does not. Say Allahu Akbar. The Awliya understood that takbir gives you the courage to continue before the answer arrives. That is important. Faith is not only thanking Allah after the door opens. Sometimes faith is standing before the closed door and refusing to believe that Allah has run out of doors. Faith is not only feeling peaceful after the problem disappears. Sometimes faith is carrying the problem while refusing to make it your God. Faith is not only saying Allahu Akbar when life makes sense. Sometimes the deepest takbir comes when nothing makes sense, yet the heart still says, my understanding is small, my vision is limited, my strength is weak, but Allah is greater. And make this dua. Ya Allah, la tajal shaytan akbara fi qalbi minka. O Allah, do not allow anything to become greater in my heart than you. Then bring the biggest fear you currently carry into your mind. Do not run from it. Name it privately before Allah and say, Allahu Akbar again. Allahu Akbar. Not because the problem instantly disappears, but because the heart is remembering its true scale. That is the fourth transformation before this Friday ends. Your problem may still be large, but it is no longer the largest reality in your heart. The Awliya understood that when Allah becomes greater in your awareness, fear loses the throne, people lose the throne, the future loses the throne, the ego loses the throne, and the dunya returns to its proper place. So before sunset, whatever is frightening you, whatever is controlling your thoughts, whatever has made you believe there is no way forward, place it beneath these words, Allahu Akbar, and remind your heart, the mountain may be enormous before me, but it is still only a mountain before Allah. Lesson 5. Say Hasbunallah until your heart stops expecting from people what only Allah can give. After istighfar cleans what was behind you, salawat softens your character, La ilaha illallah corrects your attachments, and Allahu Akbar puts your problems back in their proper size. The Awliya understood that another hidden burden must be removed before this Friday ends, the weight of depending too much on people. Sometimes your exhaustion is not because nobody loves you, it is because you have silently expected one person to become everything for you. You expect them to understand every silence. You expect them to notice every wound. You expect them to remain when everyone else leaves. You expect them to protect you from loneliness, reassure you when you are afraid, support you when you fall, and somehow never change. Then one day they become distant. They do not answer the way they once did. They cannot help when you expected them to. They misunderstand something you thought they would understand immediately, and suddenly the heart feels abandoned. The Awliya understood that moments like this reveal something deeper than disappointment. They reveal where the heart had been leaning. This is where you say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposers of affairs. Do not say these words because you hate people. Say them because you finally understand the limits of people. The person you love is still a servant. The person who supports you is still a servant. The person who understands you is still a servant. The person who opened a door for you is still a servant. They can become beautiful means through which Allah sends mercy, but they were never meant to become the source. The Awliya understood this distinction deeply. Thank the hand, but remember who sent what came through the hand. If someone helped you when you were struggling, thank them. If someone stood beside you when others disappeared, honor them. If someone gave you an opportunity, appreciate them, but never let gratitude quietly become worshipful dependence, because then fear begins. What if they stop helping me? What if they leave? What if they change? What if they no longer choose me? What if I lose their approval? Now the person is no longer simply part of your life. They have begun controlling your inner peace, and Hasbunallah comes to break that control. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. The person may leave, Allah remains. The person may stop helping. Allah's ability to send help has not ended. The person may close one door. They do not own every door. The person may misunderstand you. Allah knows what you cannot explain. The person may reject you. Their rejection does not write your destiny. This is why the Awliya did not understand tawakkul as rejecting people. They understood it as putting people back in their proper place. You can need companionship without making one companion your entire world. You can ask for help without believing the helper controls your future. You can love someone without believing you cannot survive without them. You can be grateful for a relationship without making that relationship the foundation beneath your entire identity. This is spiritual balance. And perhaps before sunset today, there is one person you need to remove from a throne they never asked to sit upon. Not remove from your life, remove from the throne of your heart. There is a difference. Maybe you constantly wait for their message. Maybe your mood depends on whether they speak kindly to you. Maybe you cannot enjoy anything because you are waiting for them to choose you. Maybe you have given one person's opinion so much power that when they praise you, you feel valuable, and when they criticize you, you feel worthless. The Awliya understood that this is not freedom. The servant begins living according to the emotional weather of another servant. If they are warm, you are peaceful. If they are cold, you collapse. If they respond, you smile. If they ignore you, the whole day becomes dark. Then Hasbunallah asks the heart a difficult question. When did another human being receive this much authority over your peace? That question can hurt, but sometimes the truth must hurt before it frees you. Say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, until you remember, I can love them without worshipping their attention. I can miss them without chasing them. I can appreciate them without making them my source. I can want them in my life without believing my life ends if they leave. This is one of the deepest freedoms the Awliya understood. And Hasbunallah must also enter your fear of provision. Perhaps your dependence is not emotional. Perhaps it is financial. One employer has become enormous in your mind. One customer, one business, one relative who helps you, one opportunity you believe you cannot afford to lose. You begin thinking, if this person says no, what will happen to me? If this job disappears, everything is finished. If this customer leaves, where will provision come from? This fear can become so strong that you forget the difference between rizq and the channel through which rizq arrived. The Awliya understood, your employer is not Ar-Razak, your customer is not Ar-Razak, your business is not Ar-Razak, the person who helps you is not Ar-Razak. They may be means, but Allah is Ar-Razak. This does not mean you become careless. Work hard, protect your employment, treat customers well, build skills, plan wisely. Honor those who help you, but never let your heart say, this person owns my provision. No, one channel can close while the source remains unlimited. This is where Hasbunallah gives dignity. You no longer need to humiliate yourself before people because you mistakenly believe they own your future. You can respect them without worshipful fear. You can ask without begging your soul away. You can work without making work your God. You can lose one opportunity without declaring that every opportunity has disappeared. The Awliya understood that one of the greatest traps of the nafs is confusing the means with the source. A door opens, and instead of thanking Allah for the door, you begin worshipping the door. Then when the door closes, you believe everything has ended. Hasbunallah lifts your eyes away from the door and toward the one who opened it. If Allah opened one door, He is not exhausted. If one person helped you once, Allah is not limited to that person. If one path disappears, you do not know what other paths exist. Your responsibility is effort. The result belongs to Allah. Say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. There is another dependence that Hasbunallah exposes, the need to be chosen. Many people do not realize how deeply this need controls them. You want to be chosen for the relationship, chosen for the friendship, chosen for the opportunity, chosen for the position, chosen by the people you admire. And when they choose you, you feel valuable. But when they do not, something inside whispers, maybe I am not enough. The Awliya understood how dangerous this becomes because your worth begins rising and falling according to another servant's decision. Then you start changing yourself. You become quieter because you fear they will leave. You tolerate things you know are wrong because you fear rejection. You give more than you can carry because you want to remain useful. You keep proving yourself. You keep chasing. You keep asking, do you still want me? And somewhere along the way, you forget to ask, what is this attachment doing to my relationship with Allah? Hasbunallah breaks the spell. Someone can fail to choose you without Allah abandoning you. Someone can prefer another person without making you worthless. Someone can close their door without owning your future. The Awliya understood that rejection hurts, but rejection should not become identity. You can feel pain without turning pain into a verdict about your worth. Say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, until the heart stops saying, please choose me so I can feel enough, and begins saying, if this connection contains good, may Allah preserve it. If it does not, may Allah protect me from losing myself trying to keep it. That is a powerful dua, even when the tongue struggles to say it. Because sometimes you are not asking Allah for the person anymore. You are asking Allah to protect you from your own attachment. The Awliya understood that not every attachment deserves preservation. Sometimes the thing you are desperate to keep is the very thing exhausting your heart. Sometimes you keep asking Allah to make someone stay when the deeper prayer should be, O Allah, give me what is good, even when my nafs does not yet understand what good looks like. This is surrender. There is another subtle form of dependence, needing people to understand you completely. Someone misunderstands your intention. You explain, they still misunderstand. You explain again. You send another message. You replay the conversation all night. You imagine what they now think about you. You become restless because somewhere in another person's mind exists a version of you that you cannot control. The Awliya understood that this can become a prison. You cannot control every heart. You cannot correct every opinion. You cannot force everyone to see your sincerity. If you were wrong, apologize. If you caused harm, repair it. If clarification is needed, clarify. But after you have sincerely done what is right, Hasbunallah must eventually enter. Allah knows. That does not mean people's opinions never matter. It means their opinions do not become greater than the truth Allah knows about you. Sometimes you must learn to walk away from the courtroom inside another person's mind. You cannot spend your entire life defending yourself before creation. The Awliya understood that the servant who desperately needs universal understanding will eventually become exhausted. Some will understand, some will not. Some may judge unfairly. Some may later realize they were wrong. But your heart cannot remain suspended until everyone reaches the correct conclusion. Say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah knows. And sometimes that knowledge must become enough. There is another prison, waiting for an apology before allowing yourself to heal. Someone hurt you, maybe deeply. You expected them to recognize it, but they never did. Perhaps they moved forward as though nothing happened while you remained carrying the wound. Then the heart begins waiting. One day they will understand. One day they will apologize. One day they will admit what they did. Maybe they will, maybe they will not. The Awliya understood that if your healing depends completely on their apology, then the person who hurt you still holds the key to your peace. Hasbunallah takes the key back. This does not mean what they did was acceptable. It does not mean justice does not matter. It does not mean you should return to an unsafe situation. It means your relationship with Allah can begin healing you before the person who hurt you ever becomes capable of understanding your pain. You may never receive every answer. You may never receive the perfect explanation. You may never hear the sentence you wanted. But Allah knows what happened. Allah knows what you carried. Allah knows the nights nobody saw. Allah knows whether your intention was sincere. And the Awliya understood that sometimes closure is not receiving the answer. Sometimes closure is realizing that your future does not require it. Say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, and release the demand that another person's maturity must become the condition for your peace. Then Hasbunallah must enter another hidden place, your fear of being alone. Some people remain in painful relationships not because they are happy, but because they are terrified of emptiness. They think, if I stop chasing this person, who will I have? If I set this boundary, they may leave. If I stop always being available, they may forget me. So they abandon themselves to avoid being abandoned by others. The Awliya understood that this is one of the deepest forms of dependence. Hasbunallah does not tell you to become isolated. Good companionship is a blessing. Family is a blessing. Sincere friendship is a blessing. The lesson is not, I need nobody. The lesson is, nobody can become my Allah. You can need people in human ways while depending upon Allah in the deepest way. That distinction matters. You can say, I love your presence, without saying, my existence depends upon your presence. You can say, I hope you remain, without saying, if you leave, I have nothing. You can say, you matter deeply to me, without saying, you determine whether I have value. This is healthy love. The Awliya understood that dependence often disguises itself as love. Love says, I am grateful for you. Dependence says, I cannot exist without you. Love allows dignity. Dependence creates panic. Love can survive a boundary. Dependence fears every boundary because the other person might leave. Hasbunallah purifies love from desperation. And something beautiful happens when this purification begins. You actually become capable of loving people better. Why? Because you stop suffocating them with impossible expectations. You stop demanding constant reassurance. You stop interpreting every silence as rejection. You stop needing them to repair every insecurity. You allow them to be human, and because you no longer need them to become your entire world, you can appreciate the role Allah actually gave them. The Awliya understood that people are more beautiful as blessings than as idols. A blessing can be appreciated. An idol must constantly be protected. That is why unhealthy attachment produces anxiety. You are terrified of losing the thing you secretly believe you cannot live without. Hasbunallah changes the sentence. Instead of, I cannot live without them, the heart begins saying, I do not want to lose what is good, but if life changes, Allah will still be Allah. That does not make loss painless. It makes loss survivable. And before sunset today, perhaps this is exactly what your heart needs. Maybe there is someone you have been chasing. Someone whose message you keep checking for, someone whose approval has become too important, someone you are afraid to disappoint because you think they control your future, someone whose absence has made you believe you have been abandoned. Bring their name into your heart without hatred. Then say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Do not say, I hate them. Say, O Allah, I return their place in my heart to its proper size. Do not say, I need nobody. Say, O Allah, let me need creation only in the way you intended, while my deepest reliance remains upon you. Do not say, I will never trust anyone again. Say, O Allah, give me wisdom to trust people appropriately while trusting you completely. That is much more beautiful. The Awliya did not seek hard hearts. They sought free hearts. There is a difference. A hard heart says, people hurt me, therefore I will love nobody. A free heart says, people may hurt me, but their failures will not make me forget Allah or destroy my ability to recognize goodness. Hasbunallah does not build walls around the heart. It builds a foundation beneath it. That foundation allows you to love without collapsing. There is another transformation the Awliya understood. Once your dependence shifts toward Allah, you become less desperate for recognition. You can do something good without needing everyone to know. You can help someone who never thanks you. You can make sacrifices that remain unseen. You can continue doing what is right even when applause disappears. Why? Because Allah knows. The nafs wants witnesses. It wants someone to say, you are good, you are special, you did so much. But Hasbunallah asks, if nobody noticed, would Allah's knowledge be enough? That question reaches very deep. Perhaps you are tired because you have spent years trying to prove your worth to people who were never responsible for defining it. Perhaps you keep doing more because you are afraid that if you stop performing, people will stop loving you. Perhaps you have become useful to everyone but unknown to yourself. The Awliya understood that service is beautiful, but service performed to purchase belonging becomes exhausting. You should help people because goodness matters, not because every act is secretly asking, will you love me now? Hasbunallah releases you from that transaction. You can give sincerely and still rest. You can help and still set boundaries. You can serve without becoming everyone's possession. You can say no without believing your worth disappeared. This is another kind of freedom. And perhaps the deepest moment comes when you realize that people were never your enemies. Your misunderstanding of their role was the problem. You asked limited beings for unlimited security. You asked changing hearts for permanent reassurance. You asked human beings to never disappoint you. Then you were shocked when human limitation appeared. The Awliya understood. Love people as people. Do not ask them to become divine. Let the spouse be a spouse. Let the friend be a friend. Let the teacher be a teacher. Let the employer be an employer. Let the helper be a helper. Do not turn any of them into the owner of your peace, provision, identity, or destiny. Because the moment everything returns to its proper place, relationships become lighter. You stop saying, you must make me happy. You begin saying, I am grateful Allah placed goodness through you in my life. You stop saying, you must never leave. You begin saying, may Allah preserve what is good between us. You stop saying, you are my only hope. You begin saying, you may be one of the means through which Allah helps me. That is tawakkul. And Hasbunallah becomes even more powerful when life is going well. Do not wait until people disappoint you to remember Allah. When someone loves you beautifully, say Hasbunallah inwardly. Not because you expect them to leave, because you want to remember the source while enjoying the gift. When someone helps you, thank them and thank Allah. When a door opens through a person, appreciate the person and remember the opener. When people praise you, receive kindness without allowing praise to become your food. The Awliya understood that attachment is easier to correct before loss than after loss. So while blessings are present, keep the heart free, love deeply, be grateful, be loyal, but remember, every blessing belongs to Allah before it belongs to your story. Then if circumstances ever change, grief may still come, but your foundation remains. Before this Friday ends, make this dua. Ya Allah, ikfini bika amman siwak, wala tu'allik qalbi bighayrik. O Allah, suffice me with you beyond dependence upon others, and do not let my heart become ultimately attached to anyone besides you. Then say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, again, but this time bring your fear with you. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Bring the person you are afraid to lose. Bring the approval you keep chasing. Bring the financial fear. Bring the closed door. Bring the unanswered message. Bring the rejection. Bring the loneliness. And place all of it beneath these words. The fifth transformation before this Friday ends is not that you suddenly stop needing people. It is something far more beautiful. You stop expecting people to become what only Allah can be. You can still love them. You can still need companionship. You can still ask for help. You can still appreciate support. But the throne of the heart returns to Allah. And when that happens, the Awliya understood that you become capable of holding people with an open hand rather than a desperate fist. If they stay, you thank Allah. If they help, you thank Allah. If circumstances change, you return to Allah. If one door closes, you remember Allah owns every door. And if the heart whispers, but what if I lose the person I depend upon? Answer it before this Friday disappears. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, because the person may have been a beautiful means, but Allah was the source all along. Lesson 6. Use la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah to release what you cannot control. After the heart has learned to seek forgiveness, send salawat, return to la ilaha illallah, remember Allahu Akbar, and depend less on people through Hasbunallah, the Awliya understood that one final burden often remains, the need to control everything. You try to control how people respond, how quickly doors open, how your future unfolds, how long a difficulty lasts, and how every plan ends. The more uncertain life becomes, the more tightly the nafs grips. It says, think more, check again, fix it now, make sure nothing goes wrong. But constant control does not create peace. It often creates exhaustion. This is where the heart returns to, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no true power and no ability except through Allah. The Awliya understood that this dhikr does not tell you to stop making effort. It teaches you where your effort ends. You can advise someone, but you cannot force their heart to change. You can work hard, but you cannot command provision to arrive through one specific door. You can make dua, but you cannot decide exactly when and how the answer must appear. Much of your inner pressure begins when responsibility becomes mixed with control. You start believing, if this goes wrong, it means I did not think enough. If they leave, I should have done more. If the door closes, I failed. But not every outcome is a measure of your effort. Sometimes you can do your part sincerely and still receive a result you did not expect. The Awliya understood the peace hidden in one simple distinction. Do what belongs to you and leave what belongs to Allah. If there is a step you can take, take it. If there is an apology you owe, give it. If there is work to do, do it. But when you reach the point where there is nothing more useful to do, stop carrying the matter as though more anxiety will produce more control. Say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and remember that your strength is not in holding every outcome tightly. Your strength is in knowing where to place what you cannot hold. This dhikr is especially powerful when the future feels uncertain. The nafs asks, what if this happens? What if that happens? And creates 10 painful futures before one has even arrived. The Awliya understood that you do not need tomorrow's strength today. If tomorrow brings a test, the strength to face that test will also come through Allah. So before sunset, Ask yourself one honest question. What am I trying to control that is not actually mine? Maybe it is another person's decision. Maybe it is a delayed answer. Maybe it is the exact timing of provision. Maybe it is a future you keep mentally trying to solve. Bring it before Allah and say, Ya Allah, fawadtu amri ilayk. O Allah, I entrust my affair to you. Then let the heart release what the mind keeps reopening. The Awliya understood that surrender is not weakness and it is not giving up. It is acting sincerely without pretending you own the result. It is making the effort without worshipping the outcome. It is walking toward the door without believing you can force it open. This is the sixth transformation before Friday ends. You stop trying to carry the whole story and finally allow yourself to remain a servant. You do your part. You make your dua. You take the step. And then you say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, because peace begins when the heart accepts that not everything was ever meant to be in its hands. Lesson 7. Guard the final moments before sunset with dhikr and dua. As this first Friday of Rabi al Awwal moves toward sunset, the Awliya understood that the final moments should not disappear into noise, scrolling, arguments, or endless distraction. After istighfar has cleaned the heart, salawat has softened it, la ilaha illallah has corrected attachment, Allahu Akbar has reduced the size of fear, Hasbunallah has weakened dependence on people, and la havla wa la quwwata illa billah has taught surrender. The heart is finally ready for something deeper, to sit before Allah with nothing left to prove and simply ask. Begin quietly with Astaghfirullah, then send salawat, Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammadi, then return to Tawheed, La ilaha illallah. Then magnify Allah above whatever still troubles you, Allahu Akbar. Then surrender the people, doors, and outcomes you cannot control. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The Awliya understood that the purpose is not to race through these words or turn them into a ritual tied to a guaranteed worldly result. Let each dhikr touch the place inside you that needs it. Let istighfar touch your mistakes, salawat touch your character, Tawheed touch your attachments, takbir touch your fear, Hasbunallah touch your dependence, and surrender touch everything your mind keeps trying to control. Then make dua honestly. Do not ask only for money, success, marriage, healing, or an easier life. Ask Allah for what will remain valuable even after the dunya changes. Ask for a heart that returns quickly after sin, a tongue that remembers Allah when life becomes difficult, a nafs that becomes easier to discipline, and a faith that does not disappear when an answer is delayed. Say, Ya Allah, tahhir qalbi wa thabbitni ala dhikrik. O Allah, purify my heart and keep me firm in your remembrance. Then remember the people beyond yourself. Make dua for your parents, your family, those who are ill, those carrying debt, those grieving someone they lost, those whose faith has become weak, and those smiling before people while quietly carrying something heavy. The Awliya understood that dua becomes wider when the heart stops asking only for itself. Sometimes you enter dua worried about your own problem and leave remembering that millions of servants are standing before Allah with wounds you cannot see. Ask Allah for them. And then ask for yourself again, but differently. Do not only say, O Allah, remove my difficulty. Say, Ya Allah, la taj'al bala'i yub'aduni anka. O Allah, do not let my trial distance me from you. Do not only say, give me what I want. Say, Ya Allah, ikhtar li ma yukarribuni ilayk. O Allah, choose for me what brings me nearer to you. That is a deeper dua, because now you are not asking only for a different life. You are asking for a different heart. Before sunset, look back over the week. There may be something you regret, something you fear, someone you are too attached to, or an outcome you have been trying to force. Bring all of it into one final moment before Allah. You do not need beautiful words. You need honesty. Tell Allah what hurts. Tell Allah what you fear. Tell Allah what you cannot release. Then return to Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. And remind yourself that the answer does not always have to arrive before peace begins. This is what the Awliya understood about remembrance. The greatest sign that Dhikr has entered the heart is not that every external problem suddenly changes. It is that the servant begins responding differently to the same world. The person may still be distant, but desperation has weakened. The door may still be closed, but despair has weakened. The future may still be unknown, but tawakkul has grown. The mistake may still be remembered, but repentance has replaced hopelessness. That is transformation. So do not measure this Friday only by how many times your tongue moved. Ask what moved inside your heart. Did resentment become smaller? Did attachment become lighter? Did gratitude become stronger? Did you remember Allah more deeply than you did yesterday? If even one of these changed, protect it after sunset, because this is the danger. People remember Allah intensely during a special moment, and then abandon the remembrance when the moment ends. The Awliya understood that the real fruit of a spiritual occasion is what survives after it. Do not let Friday end and take your dhikr with it. Carry astaghfirullah into the next time you fall. Carry Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad into your ordinary days. Carry la ilaha illallah into every attachment. Carry Allahu Akbaru into every fear. Carry Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel into every disappointment. Carry la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah into every situation you cannot control. That is when this Friday becomes more than one date on the calendar. It becomes a turning point, and before the sun sets, make one final dua. Ya Allah, la tajal hadha dhikra ala lisani fa'at, biliyajalhu hayyan fi qalbi wa amali. O Allah, do not make this remembrance only upon my tongue. Make it alive within my heart and actions. The seventh lesson is this: do not chase a special feeling before Friday ends. Chase sincerity. A few sincere moments with Allah can be more transformative than hours of words recited while the heart remains somewhere else. So as sunset approaches, reduce the noise, remember Allah, send salawat, make sincere dua, and let the first Friday of Rabi al Awwal leave behind something better than a memory. Let it leave behind a heart that knows where to return. Before this first Friday of Rabi al Awwal disappears, leave one thing behind: the version of your heart that kept forgetting where to return. Let your mistakes meet, astaghfirullah. Let your love speak through, Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad. And let every fear, attachment and uncertainty finally surrender to La ilaha illallah. Do not let the dhikr end when the sun sets. Carry it into tomorrow, into your worries, into your weakness, and into every moment when the dunya becomes louder than your heart. If this reminder awakens something inside you, subscribe to Whispers of the Awliya and write La ilaha illallah in the comments. May Allah purify our hearts, increase our love for the Prophet, accept our repentance, and make us among those whose tongues remember him and whose lives are transformed by that remembrance. The Friday will end, Rabi al Awwal will pass, but do not let your remembrance of Allah pass with it.